Let me have a look. Maybe it popped off in my pocket. No. Bank 1, channel 1. Yeah, I just had it muted. There we go. Excellent. Good morning, everyone. For those existing within the present or in the past. We're going to start our workout today. It's going to be another handstand one. Probably just working on foundations, but accessible through all levels. And certainly little bits of information that will help us on our journey. So we're going to warm up our lower body because that's going to play an integral part of the balance today. Starting with air squats, just trying to squat to your lowest position, driving your knees out to the side. We're going to do this 10 times. If you need something to help you get to a lower position, maybe a box or a chair to help you get lower down, please feel free to use that. We want to be able to go through our full range of motion in the squat. Here we go. Oh, just missed that. Matt Howdy. Yeah, so please go to your full range of motion all the way down to the bottom. 10 air squats. Oh gosh, this cable. 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. All right, from here we're going to do what I call Russian squats. So we're going to find an anchor point on our feet, either our feet or our ankles or behind our feet. We squat back down into our lowest position, and then we aim to straighten our legs while keeping our stomach as close to our thighs as possible. I'm going to do this 10 times. All right, cool. From here, we're going to do inchworm. Just do 3 across the floor. The variation that I encourage people to do is start by trying to bounce to your lowest position. So 1, 2. Yours might be up here, that's all right. 1, 2, 3. We're going to walk our hands out in front of the body. Over the inchworm, I want to be pushing my heels towards the floor almost completely throughout the exercise. Also tucking my hips forward, trying to replicate a good handstand position at all times. Then I'm going to walk my feet into my hands, each time pressing my heel towards the floor, getting a nice stretch through the back of my legs. And then I'm going to start again for another 3 bounces. 1, 2, 3. Walk my hands out in front, pushing my heels to the floor, tucking my pelvis, and then walk my feet into my hands, giving them a nice, good stretch. 1, 2, 3. Cool. We're going to do some wrist drills. So coming down onto the floor, starting off with our first knuckle raises or palm raises. Straight arm pushing through into the floor, so make sure you're active within your arms. So you're not sitting back in your shoulders like this. You're going to lift and raise your palms and come back down. We're aiming to lean our weight into our hands. And your range, what I've noticed is people's ranges start very differently. Some are very minor, some are naturally far more, have far more flexion in their wrists and their fingers. That's okay. Start wherever you are, and over time you will start to develop more range. I'm going to do this for about 20 reps. Oh, Gary, did you make a Facebook post for this? We don't need to, do we?
No, Matt sometimes does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think does it post automatically or something? I don't know. Not sure. Cool. So now we're going to reverse this position. Going to turn it around. Hey?
He has shared this.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he just did. That's what the little diddling was. Cool. We're going to do it reverse now. So I'm aiming to try and get my arms locked out into this position. I'm going to break at the elbow and allow my palm to come up. Maybe I can get my elbows to touch my thighs while driving my knuckles into the floor. Press and straighten and lock out my arms. I'm going to do the reverse palm raises 20 times. Very important that we're always doing our wrist drills in preparation for anything. It's the same way as if you're warming up for if you're doing barbell squats or doing chin-ups, you do want to walk in or aim to have a plan. The plan shouldn't be just to test your your dormant muscles. We want to try and activate them, fill them with blood, and that way they're going to work really well for us over the long run. Certainly at some point there's a lot of value to testing movements or strengths in a dry setting, so without much preparation, but certainly not the goal to do that daily. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. We're now going to do fin push-ups. So the back of our hand, if you can, make a fist. If not, a monkey paw is all right. Otherwise, open hands for the beginners. Our forearms are going to go out to the sides, either our chest or our chin. It's going to go to the floor, and we're going to lock our arms back out when we push to the top. Do this about 20 times. And then just stretching our hands, holding them in the reverse position, maybe drawing circles or alternating, shifting your weight from side to side. Back of our hands on the floor, fingers facing towards our body, rocking backwards and forwards, and then shifting our weight side to side, maybe drawing circles. Always aiming to have our arms straight and locked out. Last position, rotating our hands inwards and leaning back, pressing into the floor. Cool, you're going to grab your band, so hopefully you have one. If not, you can use the broomstick. But I do hope you have a band ready. Or you can use a belt. Someone used a belt in one of the classes. Cool. I'm going to start with the band behind my back and do a fly forward, but I want protraction of my shoulders, so I want them pressed forward like this. Allow the band to pull back and press forward again. I'm going to do this 10 times. Cool, now we're going to do dislocates. So pressing the band out and around the body. So up, out, around, over the body, and down again. I'm going to do this 10 times. Cool. Now we're going to do band pull aparts with a retraction of my shoulder blades, pulling the band into my chest, and then allowing the band to pull my shoulders forward 10 times of band pull apart with scapular retraction. Finally, overhead with depression, pulling the shoulders down and letting the band pull up, back up into a shrug position 10 times. Cool. Popping the band down, we're going to go into a straddle position, or having our legs out to the side. Just going to hold onto our forearms. And I'm going to try and hinge at the waist here, dropping my weight forward and pulsing for about 30 times, getting a nice big stretch through the back of my legs. All right, that's our warm-up done. So now we're going to move on to our first set of work for exercises. So you'll need somewhere to hang. So you can have a hanging apparatus where it's low to the ground. So for example, if I come over to these rings, now they're very low to the ground, but that's okay. What I can do is just move my body forward so that my shoulders are getting a good stretch and my bum is slightly off the ground. Or if you have a higher hanging frame, you can hang from a rig. And we're going to do this for 30 seconds. So I'm going to grab a little chalk on my hands. I'm going to head over to these stall bars. Cool, still in frame, wonderful. And we're gonna start our hang for 30 seconds. And I'm just gonna count in my head. 3, 2, 1. Cool. Coming down, 30-second hang. We're going to grab our light weight and we're going to go back into that hip hinge position, so my feet out to the side. Now I'm going to use this weight to pull me down a little bit further. So pull the weight nice and close to my chest, and then allow that weight to try and drop my stomach nice and deep between my legs. I'm going to do 30 pulses down at this bottom position of this weighted hip hinge. Are you able to set the timer on the back wall, Gary, on that back TV? For me. I was going to ask you earlier, but I forgot. Cool. 30 reps. Coming up. I'm sure you can. Cool. Now we're going to lie down with the small weight at one end of the mat. And we're going to do fold overs in the straddle position. So,
Just keep it going.
yeah, just a running time. Oh, excuse me. A running time would be perfect. Cool. So here we're going to have our hands nice and tall above us. We're aiming to try and have our legs out to the side, nice and wide, folding over at the hips and bringing our legs over in our body and behind and lowering it down controlled. We're doing this 10 times. If yours looks a little bit more challenging, like that, that's fine. Focus on the descent and try and control the descent while maintaining a flat back into the mat. So I really have to bring my stomach down, pull my rib cage in, point my toes, and then just really try and think about my hips rolling over. Cool. 10 times. Keep pushing nice and tall with the weight overhead. If this is too challenging for you, bring your knees in close and try to get them towards your armpits, and then extend your legs at the end of the rep. So lift your legs up, bring your knees in, knees to your armpits, extend your legs out, keeping your back flat to the floor. That part is quite challenging, so really to go slow enough so you can work on the form. Cool. Reps down. We're going to go to the wall with our stick now. We're going to hold the stick in a supinated position. palms this way. I'm going to try and aim to have my arms bent, my forearms against the wall, and then tuck my head through my shoulders, have a big stretch on the wall. What I want to try and aim for, stretching down, my back tilted like this, and a big stretch through my shoulders, and then I'm going to raise up a little bit, tuck my back in, and then go down further into another stretch position. So I'm going to demonstrate against the wall. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds, finding a stretch position and then alternating between an anterior tuck of our pelvis and a pelvic tuck. Cool. So, finding your chest against the wall, hands holding onto the pipe, pressing your chest forward, holding, and then coming out and rotating a pelvic tuck position. Stretching into the wall, pressing our shoulders nice and tall, chest towards the wall, and then returning to a tuck position. One more, a little bit deeper. Cool. Cool, so we're going to repeat that exercise for another 2 to 3 rounds, getting some more experience in. So we're going to go back to our hanging position. Entirely up to you. You can have pronated grip with your knuckles or fingers facing forward, hanging in this position, or you can have supinated grip in this position where we work on external rotation. Entirely up to you. So, going back to your hanging position, climbing up, and we're going to start for another 30 seconds. Ten seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Good. Coming down. Returning to our weight. Picking up our weight, we're going to do our weighted hip hinges. If you can go a little bit wider, that's this time. Excellent. Try to avoid shooting your bum too far back. Try to stay over the top and fold down and stay with your feet underneath your body. Holding the weight nice and close, aiming to get your stomach in between our thighs and bouncing here for 30 reps. Coming out of that, I'm going to return to our lying position with the weight overhead. And again, using the progression or regression that's most comfortable for you. either bringing your knees towards your armpits or having your legs completely fold over and back down again. Cool. 10 reps in your own time, feet nice and wide. Your curl. Now I know your gamer tag. There. All right. Now we're going back to the wall stretch with the pipe, and we're going to alternate between an anterior tilt position, a tuck position, while we stretch our lats and overhead position for our shoulders. Going to do this for about 30 seconds. Cool. 2 rounds down. We're going to keep going to another round. You want to grab a quick drink? And then we're going to return to our hanging position. All right. Coming up to hang. 3, 2, 1. Oh, really? Oh, right. Let's do that. Yeah, yeah. True. Cool. Weighted hip hinges, so grabbing our weight. Legs wide, bringing our weight to our chest. And another 30 pulses. Coming up. Returning to our floor for our straddle fold overs. Again, use the position that's most comfortable for you. I'm using the full position with my legs out, but you can bring your knees in and then do that position. Pressing your hands nice and tall above you, trying to aim to keep them in that position while we go through the movement. Awesome, returning to our pipe over against the wall. And our stretch should be getting a little bit more progressive in this. Shoulders overhead, stretching deep and deeper and alternating between anterior tilt and then coming up and tucking your pelvis forward. Cool, another 30 seconds. Let's go. Cool. Coming out of it. All right. We have 2 exercises that we're going to do for 3 rounds. First one is simply 2 wall walks. Walking up the wall, holding for a moment against the wall, and then walking controlled, coming down. And then we're going to go into a side splits position and spend about 30 seconds there. So, I'm going to make sure that's, yeah, keep that on. Cool, perfect. So when we go up into our wall walk position, what I'd like you to do is maintain control and elevation through your shoulders as you're doing it. That means alternating which one hand is holding the weight, holding above, and then coming back down as controlled as possible through our shoulders. So performing 2 wall walks as we go up. Hopefully my speaker won't fall out of my pants when this happens. Let's see. Cool. Going up. 2 of those. Now we're going to come down into our side splits position. If you have a block, or we can use the weight to give us something to help us get lower. Legs out to the side. You can have your feet flat, Chinese side splits, or you can just have your feet out to the sides. We're aiming to hold this position for 30 seconds. Yours may look a little more like this. That's totally fine. If you can get your forearms to the floor, even better. Holding here for 30 seconds. Ten seconds left. Cool. Coming back up, walking our feet together. You need to grab a quick drink, do that, and then we're going to go back to our 2 wall walks up against the wall. Your wall walks at this point should be fairly familiar. If you're new to them, these are a good beginner exercise. Like with everything, for people that have been doing them for a while, really focus on control and putting intention into each of those steps, rather than just trying to race to that upright position and then race back or fall back down. Cool, 2 reps in your own time. Awesome. Coming down, and we're going to jump back into our side split position. Try and breathe naturally through this position so that we get a little bit more comfortable with it. I know it's uncomfortable. Come down. Be here for another 30 seconds. Ten seconds left. Cool. And coming out of it. Short break for about 30 seconds, and then we're going to finish our last reps of wall walk. Awesome. Last round of side splits. Doing well if you've made it this far. Coming down into a side split position. Getting into position. And we're going to hold here for 30 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Awesome. Grab a quick drink if you need. All right. Cool. So we're going to get to the main focus of today's class, and we're going to be working with toe exchanges. So the focus for this exercise is not to complete as many reps as possible, is trying to create a familiarity where we change our balance against the wall. So we're going to have both legs up against the wall, toes touching, and then we're going to take one leg off, and we're going to try and swap positions as slowly as and controlled as possible against the wall. We're only going to do this for about 3 to 5 reps, and the reason that we're using a smaller rep range is because your instruction is to go as slow as possible. So a toe exchange anywhere between the time of about 2 seconds to about 4 seconds if you're very controlled, probably a good range, and then doing that for about 3 to 5 reps should build up a good amount of volume when we're working with this. So I'm going to demonstrate how we can make this more challenging or more accessible depending on your level. So I'm going to head over to the wall. So to make this really accessible, what I want to do is go closer to the wall, and my toe exchanges are going to be a very small amount of distance between my foot changing position and my foot replacing on the wall. And I do want to aim to have about a second or two of exchange time where there's neither foot touching the wall. So maintaining my lockout in my overhead position, maintaining a strong core, maintaining a pelvic tuck, and then it's just my legs working while everything else maintains a strong position. So I'll show you the scaled back version now. So going fairly close to the wall, pressing nice and tall, squeezing my legs, taking one leg off the wall, and slowly aiming to replace the position. Cool. So as I said, we can make that more challenging or more difficult by moving further away from the wall, and then that time we spend changing our legs is far greater, and we have to control that balance mechanic quite a bit more. So I'm going to demonstrate further away from the wall now. So one leg on the wall, and then slowly changing position. Cool. So that's what we're going to be operating with for about the next 10 to 15 minutes. Each time you do that, I want you to come down, have about a 30-second to 1 minute rest, and then I want you to perform 3 kick-ups against the wall so that they're getting more consistent. If you know that your scissor kick-up, the kick-up like this, is very consistent, try with your opposite leg. If it's very consistent on both legs, try entering your handstand in a straddle position entry or in a tuck position entry and alternate with that. So have a few rests, have a rest for about 30 seconds to a minute and then back to the toe exchanges. And those are the 2 exercises that we're going to alternate with for today's class. Okay, so take your time, don't go to fatigue. Always make sure that you have enough energy to complete the reps and then come back down safely and then complete the next set. Take as much rest as you need between the reps. I'm going to do a bit of work so that you can see what you're doing and you can look back and get visual information cues from what I'm doing, and I'll also talk through it. So hopefully you can focus on your own exercises, and if my voice is in the background, it can help you, or if you're resting, you can take the information away. So begin now. With our kick-up entries, we do want our back to the wall so that we're more consistent. And then another progression for getting stronger in our kick-up is getting our hands closer to the wall so that when we kick up, we're directly against the wall, not away from it like so with a big shape in our back, changing that banana position to being straight against the wall. So that's a little bit of a progression that you can work with as well. So I'm going to demonstrate some kick-ups over here. Move this out of the way. Cool, so I'm going to do straddle. Cool. So there's 3 kick-ups, trying to control that and get as much familiarity in our entry as possible, especially when using the wall. And that way, when we go to freestanding drills or partner freestanding, we're going to have a lot more consistency in getting into it. So those are the 2 main focuses for today. Work through that. I'm going to leave you uninterrupted for about 15 minutes. Like I said, I'm just going to talk through my reps while I do it, so hopefully in the background or while you're having a rest, you can hear the information that I'm giving to you. Make sure you're getting enough rest in between these sets because they're very slow movements. They can be quite draining. So just making sure that we're not going to ruin ourselves for the rest of the day and trying to make each rep fairly quality. So if you're getting more and more fatigued, scale it back a little bit, make it smaller and make it as detailed as you can. Even if your feet are very close to the wall, and you're just getting that slight changeover. See if you can try and maintain a strong overhead position. Keep your core nice and strong, your pelvis tucked, and it's just the lower part of your body that's changing over. So just this position here in your legs. Cool. Kick ups. I'm going to go into tuck kick ups now. Awesome. So hopefully you've been able to see some of the examples that I've been giving it against the wall, and also been able to make feel a little bit of the intention around those exercises today. I'm going to leave you with those exercises so that you have enough time that you're not feeling rushed to complete them. But I want you to do maybe another 10 minutes work, rest as necessary throughout that exercise, because it's going to be a lot of volume in total, and I still want to maintain the quality. When we finish, you're going to have a core exercise, 100 hollow body rocks. I'll demonstrate the progressions for that exercise now, and then you can complete them after another 10 minutes of your work against the wall. So cool. Full hollow body position, feet together, arms overhead, rocking here. If we need to make it a little bit more accessible, we can bring our legs in, or we can bring our arms in, or into the dead bug position here. You can break up the reps as much as you need. So if you'd like to do sets of 20 in between the handstand walk, or if you'd like to complete sets all at the end of the handstand block for the next 10 minutes, you're more than welcome to do it that way. I suggest doing a little bit of a hang at the end as well to give your shoulders a bit of stretch in the opposite direction. Thanks for joining us, guys. See you soon. All done.